My name is Richard Herlihy from Oklahoma. Born and raised there, kind of like Brad. I had a fairly privileged upbringing. Never wanted for anything. In high school, I was part of the floaters crowd. It was a big enough school that the people that didn't really fit here or there formed a group, and that was our group, right? I could go into different groups, right? And so I could go to a party or I could hang out, with these people over here. And I did. I partied a lot. I never felt like I was accepted. I never felt like I was a part of it, though. Even when I was around people, I was always escaping through drugs and alcohol. And eventually that escape became more important than the party, right? And I've always had social anxiety. And so being around a group of people makes me anxious. So I would escape. Basically, I started to use alone, became isolated, became a downward spiral into drug addiction. Skipping a lot, but my sophomore year of college, I took a semester off and went to rehab. Kicked a pretty bad cocaine habit. Never went back to that, but I kept going back to nitrous oxide. I think I told myself maybe it wasn't as harmful, right? It was definitely addictive. And eventually it was hopeless, and I turned to God, and like people pray over their food, I prayed over my drugs. I wasn't going to get out of it unless God helped me, and I knew that, right? So I'd get the drugs, and I'd say, God, I know this isn't your will for me, but I pray that you guide me out of this, right, in your perfect timing, in your perfect way. When it was all said and done, I hit bottom hard, right? The nitrous floored me, literally, right? Eventually, when I used the numbness would wear off, but it got to a point where it didn't wear off one day. I literally couldn't stand up, and I was at home, for a couple of months with a walker, not able to walk around, do much, and get out. I know it was God's weird grace that happened. It's amazing grace, but I couldn't get out to get more drugs, right? And I had a lot of time to spend with God. And again, I'm skipping a lot, but while down there at bottom, He told me eventually I would use my story to help people, right? Because it was Jesus that helped me out of that. My social anxiety didn't like that idea, that I was going to stand in front of people and tell them my testimony. It still doesn't, but he's guiding me into that more and more. But yeah, eventually, I knew that God was the one who was going to deliver me, and He did, and He was going to continue to guide me in ministry. And He eventually showed me it was time to leave. And I was praying, in those prayers about drugs, I need to be delivered from these drugs, but I also need to be delivered to somewhere. I knew enough about recovery from rehab that you got to replace the bad habit with a good habit, right? So I prayed for a place, somewhere where I could be loved and where, I could serve and replace those bad habits with good habits. And he guided me here. He answered me. I traveled around for a while and came to Jackson, and ended up at Jacksonville Baptist Church. It's a real small church. I knew I could be accountable there. I knew I could serve there. It's just where I needed to be, the Baptist, so I could ask them questions about the Bible and really dig in. And I have over the last couple of years. And after being there a while, we went served at the mission, and I found out they have daily Bible studies, and that's just more time in the Word and more fellowship. And so I started going to some of those Bible studies, and eventually Chuck asked if I wanted to teach, and I said sure eventually, and so I've been teaching there for a little over a year, and it's great, because God provided a family for me to grow with, and He provided a place for me to start sharing my testimony. There's a lot of people who are struggling with the same things I was struggling with there. In both those places, he honors the weakest members. It's what it says in Corinthians 12. Those who are weak, right? We honor and we lift up, right? And that's what He's doing, right? I'm the weakest of the weak, and He's going to use me in positions to serve. So I still don't fit in, to a lot of places, but God showed me that I fit in the body of Christ. right? And that's where he has me right now. He's not done with me, but he's got me where I need to be to not turn back to drugs. So, thank you.